The Grim Tale of Grace Macabre, Chapter 46. It's just a dragonfly, Grace lied, her voice shaky. It didn't start out as a dragonfly, Ian said. When the tree whispered it into existence, it was something else entirely. I think you know what it was originally, don't you? Grace watched the creature slowly flutter its wings as it rested in the box, as if it were keeping time with an inner melody. She raised her gaze from the box to Ian. I have no idea, she said. Her hands were shaking. Ian could see that she had lied. Oh, I don't believe you, Grace. And I don't understand what's happening to us, but I think we're supposed to figure it out together. Are you willing to try? Grace gave a limp shrug. Ian didn't let that response derail him. When the tree began whispering, a large strawberry blossomed on one of its branches, Grace. And I reached out and plucked it, and it transformed into this dragonfly. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Then the tree began humming, and suddenly I was surrounded by thousands of these things. They were all that wonderful shade of red, their wings translucent and shimmery. And they were all humming along with the tree. And that's when I realized that if I closed my eyes and listened, truly listened, I could understand what they were humming. With an unsteady voice, Grace spoke the word. It was agape. If Ian had been surprised that she knew the word, he did not show it. He merely nodded, reached out his hand. She responded by taking hold of it and squeezed hard to steady herself. She felt confused, excited, and scared. So many emotions ran through her that she felt as if her body would burst trying to contain them all. What does it all mean? She said in a tiny voice. Oh, the word has many layers of meaning, Ian said. One definition is a willingness to sacrifice yourself for another. Now, I'm not sure if that's what it means for us, but I know someone who does. Who? Grace said. Before I tell you, I want to say this. After a while, the dragonflies flew away, except for one. At my feet was this box. I put the dragonfly inside because I knew I had to bring it to you. Then I walked back along the path and met a girl in the clearing. Her name is Sarah, and she wants to meet us and give us some answers to what this all means. Grace wasn't so sure. I don't know. My family believes that she set me up. We think she's framing me. What do you mean? You know Sarah? Grace slowly nodded. My family and I, we think she told the police that I caused Justin to do that awful thing that he did. I did not do that, Grace. I've been trying to protect you. Grace turned to see Sarah standing in the doorway. She was wearing those thick, nerdy glasses and her old and frayed sweatshirt. It doesn't look that way to me, Grace countered. Justin's diary was forged to make it seem as if I had told him he needed to kill as many kids as possible to prove his love for me. I never did such a thing. Sarah took a step into the room. If you will remember, Grace, I was the one who called the detectives and told them to check the handwriting. Well, my aunt thinks that's some kind of twisted game you're playing, Grace said. Sarah gave a kind smile. Your aunt is a smart woman, Grace. However, she is wrong about this. Had I not called the detectives on your behalf, you would be in jail right now. Grace shook her head as she thought this over. I don't know, but why did you show up at my house and threaten my family? I was there to speak to you about the strength you can have when you lean into your family, Sarah said. But your mom was very upset, and I snuck away when your uncle was calming her down. We need to listen to her, Grace, Ian prompted. I think she can explain what's going on. We just need to trust her. Grace turned back to Sarah. What about the threats you texted me? It was Sarah's turn to shake her head. Those texts were not threats. They were warnings. There's a difference. Prove it, Grace said. Sarah stepped further into the room. She closed the door behind her. Your visions serve a purpose. They're preparing you to be open to what I'm about to tell you, Grace. Which is, Grace replied, that the runaways are not who they appear to be. They are not teenagers. They are much, much older and extremely dangerous. Grace didn't want to trust Sarah. That sounds insane. What are you trying to say? Sarah carefully considered her answer, then said, Ari and the rest of that group are not human. That's ludicrous, Grace said. They look human to me. Do you know how insane you sound? I do, Sarah replied. But they have the ability to take whatever form they need that helps them get their claws into you. You are in extreme danger, Grace. Grace couldn't control her frustration. If they aren't human, then what are they? Sarah never took her eyes off Grace as she replied, Demons, Grace. They are demons.